January 8th. It says the 5th. I'll print it on the 5th. January 8th, meeting of the Traffic Safety and Parking Commission to order. And before we go to our Pledge of Allegiance, our senior traffic engineer, Mr. Wong, would like to say something.
Thank you, Chair Martos. I would just like to point out one of our guests in the audience tonight is our new Public Works Director, Mr. Chris Lamb.
Oh,
Here, so you
Fabulous.
guys can talk to him probably after the meeting if you want to chat with him a little bit. Just started this week, and we'll see where we go. All right.
welcome.
You know, Mr. Wong, I was thinking that as I was walking in here, we need to have him come to one of our meetings and introduce himself. So there, wow, it just all happened like that. You got a great team. You see how things just happen? Yeah, wonderful. All right. Thank you, Mr. Wong, and welcome, Director Lamb. Happy to have you here tonight. So we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. You know what? I'm going to put the new director on the spot. Would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? That's my prerogative. Oh.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll move on to item 3, roll call. Ms. Brewer, could we have a roll call, please?
Yes, I'm going to take my time here. Commissioner French. Present. Commissioner Israelit. Commissioner Johnson
Present.
and Chair Martos.
Here. All right. We'll move on to the approval of minutes from September 11th. And, but for the record, Commissioner Brown is absent tonight, but we'll go on the approval of the minutes from September 11th. Did anybody have any changes, amendments to the minutes? Okay, hearing none. Can I have a motion to approve those minutes, please? Anyone?
I have a motion to approve.
Thank you. Second?
Seconded.
Any objections to the minutes? All right, for the record, Ms. Brewer, by unanimous consent with one person abstaining, Commissioner Brown, who's not here, the minutes are approved. And we will move on to item 5, public comments. We have one person in the audience, so let me read this disclosure. Members of the public may speak on any item that's not on the agenda. Members of the public wishing to suggest an item for future commission agenda may do so during the public comment period. The Ralph M. Brown Act, which is the state local agency open meeting law, prohibits this commission from acting on any matter that's not on the agenda. Sir, could you state your name, please?
My name is Kirby Altman. I live on Cypress Avenue. I've lived in this wonderful town for 30 years. And I'm also was drawn to it because it's a very walkable city and I am a big pedestrian. And as such, I think I've been assaulted or damn near assaulted 4 times in the last 6 months in the crosswalks. And I hope to share some observations, what I've seen. One is we seem to fill out a lot of surveys. I've filled out at least 3. A couple of them with Mr. Wong, and lots of stuff goes into them. Maybe I don't look in the right place, but it's hard sometimes to see what the total results are. It would be maybe, I don't know, maybe it is, but some of those things turn into projects. The projects are brought here and we find out, what the progress is, et cetera. I think if people were to make a direct connection between what they do in those surveys and what happens, they'd be more willing to do that. On a positive note, I want to commend the Public Works Department, and it's probably Saeed, for the wonderful work they did on the Occidental Speedway project with the wonderful intersections and the striping and everything else like that. It looks great. One thing, though, as you're going north on Occidental and you come to Burlingame Avenue, there's a lot of the people come just swerving right around without even stopping in the crosswalk. Also, the curb is not painted 20 feet. It's only, I think, only 5 feet. And there's several trees in the way. So if you're going there and there's a large suburban assault vehicle parked there, you can't even see someone start to get into the crosswalk. I think it would be great if we could put some of those stanchions like we have at Chafin and Primrose. I think that's a wonderful intersection. If we had some more of those, that would really help. Also along that, I don't know what the progress is of painting the curbs in certain areas for 20 feet red, because again, we have a lot of people who park trucks right near an intersection, and as you're coming up, it's hard to see traffic coming in the other direction, and it also hides pedestrians. And the other one is Primrose and Howard. The crosswalk there has been several close calls, not only me, but I've seen it. And it might help to have some of those stanchions. And I noticed it also doesn't have one of those signs that says the state law says yield to pedestrians and crosswalks. It often turns into, who's going to intimidate who. And
Go ahead and finish.
oh,
Yep.
okay. And then the other one finally is it's great to make all these suggestions and do some of these things, but I'd like to understand why there isn't more enforcement on the crosswalks of, cars coming in while pedestrians are in the crosswalk, et cetera. I think that might go a long way, maybe to slow some of these people down and have more regard for the intersection or the crosswalks. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Altman. Appreciate it. All right. And then we had a couple of emails tonight. So hopefully you all had a chance to read the emails. Am I allowed to say who they were from?
Yes.
They're redacted. Okay.
The names are at the bottom, but one email was from Emily Beach and the other one was from Brian
Silverman.
Silverman.
Yep. Okay. Got it.
Through chair, I believe
Yes.
Emily Beach, it was
Oh,
Leslie.
Emily Beach. Leslie Beatty. I'm so sorry.
Say again?
It was Miss Beatty.
Leslie Beatty.
Leslie Beatty. Oh, did I hear? Did you
It's
say?
Emily Beach for
Oh, no.
some.
All right. Very good. Okay. Nothing else. I'll close public comment and I'll refrain from banging the gavel. We'll move on to item 6A. San Mateo County Transportation Authority 2025 Highway Program at Peninsula Avenue Corridor. Mr. Wong.
Thank you, Chair Martos.
Yep.
Peninsula Avenue Corridor Study. This is a joint project that's just beginning between the city of San Mateo as well as the city of Burlingame. I'll get into it a little bit with you, but it's similar to what we did for Old Bayshore. It's a feasibility study where we come down and we'll narrow down to a preferred alternative. But this is just strictly the first phase. We'll get into that. Oops, sorry. I'm not able to control it. So tonight's meeting goals are give you an introduction to the project, and then we'll move on. And I don't expect many comments because they're so preliminary, but any preliminary comments or questions you might have. And then the important part is we'll get into the public outreach that we'll be doing shortly. So next slide. The background, again, this is a project between the city of San Mateo and the city of Burlingame. Again, for this phase of the project, we'll just be doing the planning as well as the project approval, environmental documentation, or we call it the PAED phase. And that will include community engagement, possibly forming a steering committee to help with the design or the concepts. We'll be doing an alternatives analysis, showing the alternatives and then the impacts. And then again, as I mentioned, we hope to come out with a preferred concept that we can use for future grant opportunities. And then again, this is just going to finalize the permits that we have to go through as well as get that preliminary concept. Peninsula Avenue is split right down the middle on the center line between San Mateo and Burlingame. And if you go to the next slide, I'll show you the limits of the project. So we're going from left to right. We have El Camino Real, an airport, and then there's the corridor. Then what's along this corridor, we have roughly, we've got six Samtrans stops along this corridor, five signalized intersections. You can see Washington School to the north. We've got Meta to the right side here, the northeast. And then on the San Mateo side, we have Wood Lake Shopping Center. We have Wood Lake condos. And then to the southeast, we have obviously Coyote Point, as well as Poplar Creek Golf Course. So next slide. So with this project, we've got several phases just for the planning and environmental documentation. With this project, we're going to do a traffic and congestion analysis. So we'll be using modeling we'll be collecting the existing data, but we'll be setting up a model to be able to look at current data and then projected what's going to happen in the future. Like if we do certain improvements as well as the increased traffic volumes that we have through the countywide model. That'll show us the growth of the city, of both cities, and that'll be input there. Next one, and what we hoped again to come up with is a concept design. I think we're going to start off with a class 4 facility that you've seen, which is the bike lane and with the adjacent buffer. That'll be sort of the basis of what we want to hope to do there. And then we'll also look at bulb outs, raised crosswalks, mid-block beacons, which we have a number of on them already. Well, we also look at green infrastructure, but we will also look at the alternatives, and then part of the alternatives analysis, we'll look at road diet along there, reducing a lane, and potentially if we play with parking too. If we remove parking, where does it go? What impacts that has? So those are things that we will look at in the assessment. Next slide. Economic and equity analysis. This is a little different for us because we don't have one of these necessarily in this area for sure, but if we do, it's very small in other areas, but it's an equity issue. In San Mateo, there's the North Central area, which is usually called a community of concern, where they have economic issues as well as equity issues. And so trying to bring those folks up and apply some of the funding towards this to be able to get them to be able to access these areas safer, better. So that'll be part of it. And that helped with the scoring to get us to this point. Next slide. Safety and connectivity. Again, we'll be comparing this with the Vision Zero, but we'll still take another look at the high collision areas. And then we will make those a priority through this project. Next. As I mentioned, we'll be looking at parking, but rather than looking at just parking at peak periods, we'll be looking at multiple days and throughout the day. So we'll get a little better taste than just during peak periods. Faster. Community stakeholder engagement. We will, of course, be reaching out to the community several ways, surveys. As Mr. Altman mentioned, we'll be doing some online surveys. We'll be probably doing some mailings, but definitely having in-person meetings, and we'll get into a little bit more of that. And the last one, existing condition needs assessment. Again, be collecting traffic data, so that'll be in a report, and as well as with these surveys, we'll point out what the community sees that we need, and when we take a look, we'll see what issues that we've come up with. So that'll be all part of this feasibility study. Next slide. And that brings us to the upcoming outreach opportunities. So we've got 2 coming up within a few weeks. On January 29th, we have the in-person at the Martin Luther King Community Center in San Mateo from 6:30 to 8:30. And that'll be our in-person one. And then the following Tuesday on February 3rd, we will have probably the same meeting. I don't know yet. We don't have the Zoom information, but we will have a Zoom meeting for those that can't attend. That way we can try to capture both. We found, as we've done since the pandemic, we found more success with the in-person, but we have found we get a lot more input on the Zoom meetings. A lot more people it's just, obviously it's more convenient. So we'll be trying to do both ways. Next slide. And the good news. So this project, just for the planning and PAED phase, is about 1.5 million. And of that, a little over $1 million has been covered by the same highway grant that covered Old Bay Shore. So we covered most of this. And so both cities will make up the difference in the matching funds. So as I mentioned earlier, I didn't mention earlier, but when we spoke with the grant funding folks, they told us to break this up into 2 phases because if you can see when the completion date, there was no way we're going to be able to go from 0 to start to finish project within this time. So they thought we get this done, and then for the next round of the highway phase, or I'm sorry, highway funds, we'd be able to apply. And then given that we're working with 2 agencies, a major corridor, we have a community need, those probably strike pretty well. And again, hopefully we'd be, knock on wood, successful with the much larger amount that we'd be asking for construction. So most of this project's covered through grant. And then we go to the Candyland chart where we starting right here. We're at the ground zero. We're at the very first part. We just got funding, but we haven't even selected the design consultant yet. But we're going to start getting some input at those outreach meetings, just to kind of get a feel of where folks are without coming up with any concepts or anything. And then, as you can see with this project, rather than get to the end, one more click, we'll be stopping there once we get the preferred alternative. So that the project that we talk of right now at this point is just to that. Once we get that preferred alternative, we will work on getting the fund or packaging the application for the next round of funding so we can get to the design, full design and construction. And so with that, that's pretty much the presentation. And any questions or comments you might have?
Okay, commissioners, comments?
Not yet.
Not yet,
Not yet.
not yet, not yet. Couple, Mr. Wong. So surveys are going to be going out electronically as well as at the community meetings.
And that's a good comment we will include.
Okay,
Again, we're working with San Mateo on this one.
Yep.
We will see how they do it. I imagine we'd have to, because we're covering such a large group. It's not just a neighborhood.
mm-hmm.
Probably going to we'll have to do it electronically and through e-news and whatever we can.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. I heard rely on Vision Zero or leverage Vision Zero. So, how is that going to fold into the whole planning effort here?
Well, we'll look at and see what Vision Zero has proposed for improvements along the corridor, as well as San Mateo's. I think they have a action safety plan, and just see what that'll be the starting point, right? We'll see what improvements they list there, and then we'll see what the community has and take all that information together.
Yeah, that was kind of a loaded question because I haven't heard anything about Vision Zero for a very long time, and I'm on the subcommittee.
Don't worry.
When are they going to provide their list of priorities?
We're coming back with that. That'll be,
Okay,
it wasn't this meeting,
okay, soon.
February.
Okay, all right, very good. And then the other question I had was, did I hear that right, that you already have some funding to do the planning? Because a lot of these things, we want to be ready with a plan before we go get apply for the grant. So it looks better in our favor that we really have a real plan going forward.
We will, and again, sorry, I wasn't clear.
Yep.
So we did get funding for this, for the planning and this phase.
Okay. Kind of seed funding or something just to start
Uh,
planning things out?
That
or-
1.5 million covers just the planning phase.
Okay. Oh,
That's through, we just have to come up with, between us and San Mateo, the difference of whatever, 375,000. But the bulk of it has been acquired by both cities.
so this 1.125 we already have. So we can start moving this project forward into the planning phase?
Correct.
Excellent. Okay. And then if you can go back to the Candyland chart, please. Oh, come on. I'm the chair. You can't beat me. All right. Stop.
Something else.
Someone's trying to.
No, don't worry about it.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
thanks. Somebody's cell phone. Okay. So So this may be a little bit off topic, but when this project goes to council, I'm looking, there's an final design phase, and this commission will review the 65% design, um, and make a decision whether it should go to council, with our approval. Um, and we've spoken about this in the past, I think, when we put this chart together. Is it more practical that that design is more mature before this commission sees it for the last time and it goes to council, like maybe 85%? We don't need to know all the details, and I don't want, frankly, I don't want this commission to debate the details. You all know how to implement things. We just want to know the what you're going to implement and make suggestions on that. But, especially with the new mayor, wants to be assured that this commission has done a thorough job reviewing things before it goes to council. And I just don't feel like 65% is mature enough for us to see it for the very last time. So you don't need to answer that now, but I'd like you to consider that, especially with the new mayor who really wants to make sure this commission has done their due diligence, before it goes to council for review and approval or not.
And if I could just clarify?
Yeah.
So for this one, it's going to be merely concept like that.
Yep.
Literally, that looks okay. Right?
Yep.
That's what we support. The details of lane widths
Yep.
and all that, that's the next part. That's after the stop.
Yep. Yep.
So when we're talking 65 or even 85% on those designs, those are later down. That's the next phase.
Yep.
What you're going to be here, it's just like on you're going to see lots of pictures.
Yep.
Like did in the old Bay Shore where this is what it looked like. We're going to have a bicycle lane here
Yep.
with the road diet, and then and we'll have some data to support like here's what will happen when we do that. The capacity of the roadway, it was operating level
Yep.
service B, now it goes to a C with all these improvements, something like that.
Yep.
You will see stuff later on. Not at this point. You're not going to see that deep.
Understood. And so that's why I said it was a little bit off topic, but it's kind of a general statement that I want to make, that we should consider the last time this commission sees this, and any project, honestly, should be a little bit more mature
Yep.
than 65%. I just don't feel like that's close enough to the end line to say, we've reviewed it, we agreed, and then it goes to council and there's still 35% changes that could occur. I don't think they'd be comfortable with that either. So,
Can I ask a
Mr. Johnson, go ahead.
Could I ask a
Yeah.
clarifying question?
Yeah.
So the 35%, you said we would see the details later. Is that part of a separate process, or does it show up here in this chart? I guess I'm not really clear on what is the 35%?
So through the chair, when we start once we start final design, where there are different phases. So once, I think, Tremarto's, I think when we'd seen something previously, it was still undecided where the exact location crosswalks were. And it wasn't even like the details per that crosswalk. It was things like that. By the time we get to 85%, those should be hammered out. That's what we're showing you. So you know where certain devices are. You may not know exact dimensions of them, but you will know roughly where they are. And that way you know the impacts, right? If there's a driveway impacted or if someone, anyway, something like that, you will know those locations.
And again, spare us the details. I mean, you're the engineer and your team know how to implement things. We just want to know what you're going to put in place and make comments on that.
Sure.
We don't need to know all the details of
Right.
where it's going, how wide the lines are, just more of the what.
No, it's just when we have it at that point, the
Yeah.
plan. So
Yeah.
strip it off.
Gotcha. Okay. Anything else? Yep. Commissioner Israelit?
Is your,
Oh,
Oh,
I was-
I'm sorry.
I had-
Done, Commissioner Johnson?
I don't have any more questions, but I had a comment.
Okay. Well, you want to go?
You to, yeah.
All right. We'll go over to Commissioner Israelit.
okay, this is more of a general philosophy concept type question, but so, I know you guys are looking at, you mentioned possibly a road diet. And we're talking about cities enlarging with more housing, and we have MATA now. And is that something that is pretty much in your plans as far as like adding a bike lane and removing lanes of car traffic? Or has that been studied as far as, like, is that sort of our goal for a lot of these projects? To do road diet and add bike lanes, without necessarily thinking about growth and increased traffic because of those factors?
Through the chair.
Sure.
And so as part of this process, as I mentioned, sorry, I'm not able to control the presentation, so
Steph has the power.
yeah, we have now I've got the traffic and congestion analysis. So that's where we're going to be doing some of the modeling. So the future with the growth, that's where we'll be able to, so we'll be able to look at, like, say both cities add 10,000 new units on each side in that area. And that's what the model calls for. We'll be able to show, okay, we've got this much traffic. What if here's what it is with the streets, the existing streets. What if we reduce it, the lane widths? So we have the traffic, kind of the black box, the numbers of the traffic volumes that we're looking at, the increase that we're looking at. And so we'll be able to at least have a good guesstimate of what will happen if we do changes to it. So we'll be able to manipulate that. And that's part of the traffic congestion analysis. And then we can also tweak it by what if we make changes to the signal timing? We'll be able to do that to try to improve it, right? It's both a capacity and operationals on how we do it with the signals. So we will be able to look at that.
I did hear you say that you
Okay.
were going to analyze, traffic demand as part of your planning process. But yeah, I felt like I feel like that question needs to be asked because we hear from the community a lot of times that, there has to be buy-in for major changes like that. And I just want to.
And it's not a foregone conclusion. We're just starting with that because that seems to be the balance. It's not a class 1 facility, but it gives a little more protection than a class 2. But again, this whole process we're going to go through that, but that's where we wanted to start.
Okay. I just wanted to bring it.
Yeah, nothing's been decided.
Okay. Okay. Oh, Commissioner Johnson, back to you.
Of course, just echoing really what the chair said about Vision Zero and a comment earlier about visibility. We put a lot of effort into Vision Zero. So I think tying that back to, the inputs that we got, especially given that this has been such a trouble street for both cities, and especially at El Camino and Peninsula where we had a fatality. So I know that the citizens along that corridor are going to be very, very interested to hear where this analysis goes, what we decide. I'm assuming we'll get a lot of community input because I know with that tragedy, we did have a pretty packed house here of people having a point of view about what should be done in that corridor. So just echoing your point about making sure we tie that back, the great work of this project and hoping to mitigate some of the risk on that.
Mhm. Okay.
Absolutely.
Commissioner French, did you have anything? Nope. Anything else, commissioners? Let's see. Public comment?
No public comment.
No public comment? All right. Nothing else. We'll close this item, Mr. Wong. Thank you very much. Appreciate the presentation. And we'll move on to chair and vice chair nominations. So commissioners, Commissioner Israelit has been through this before. Commissioner Johnson maybe once, Commissioner French, this is new. So our process, we don't rotate. We nominate and vote on 2 positions, chair and vice chair. We had a vice chair, but that vice chair left the country, really. And so then we were left with a chair. But we'll move forward, and what we'll do is we'll look for a chair first by nomination. A person that's not, anybody can nominate, they can nominate themselves if they'd like. Person that's nominated needs to accept the nomination. We'll vote as a group and see if that's the person that's going to be chair. And then once that's established, we'll do the same thing for vice chair. Okay? Sound good? All right. So I'd like to start with chair. And is there anybody? I'll nominate a person. I think With no offense, new director, but we have new new people in charge here, and we have new people on our commission as well. I'm looking for someone that maybe has some experience, like almost 9 years of experience, that could possibly lead the commission as chair this year. Commissioner Israelit, would you accept the nomination to be chair?
Well, thank you very much for the nomination. I think I will have to politely decline the nomination for this next year. I have a lot of things on my plate. So I'm not sure I'd be able to devote as much time as I would want to. However, that being said, it is true, we have a new director of public works, which is fantastic. And we have, some young fresh blood on the commission, and Commissioner French. And so I mean, it would be nice to have someone who's got history and experience. So I reflect the nomination right back at you. Chair Martos, I don't know if you would, how excited you would be about this, but I do feel like for next year, it would be nice to have somebody comfortable with that role.
So I will accept, but I also want to know if either one of you would like to be chair, or if either one of you would consider being any vice chair. Let me qualify that. I spoke with Commissioner Brown and he said he wasn't interested in either role. So, and kind of sounds like Commissioner Israelit, her name's off the ballot as well. So it would be one of you two that would
I think it's,
vice chair.
I think it's with all of the change in the incoming.
Yeah.
I would also echo Lynn in supporting you for chair again.
Okay.
I would be happy if you're willing to play that role. I'd be happy to be vice chair if you would want me.
Okay. Then let's do a voice vote, roll call vote for chair. So I guess I'm the only nominee and I accepted. So
Okay.
go ahead, just for the record.
Commissioner French,
Yeah, I would absolutely vote Dawn for chair again. He's still training.
All of us.
And I think it sounds great if you're going to be vice chair because you're here the longest, right? You. So do I vote? Am I saying?
So just so the motion on the floor is for me to be chair. And so the vote is in agreement. Okay.
Commissioner Israelit,
I agree.
Commissioner Johnson.
Agree.
Okay. So the motion carries 3-0 with one abstain, two abstaining, I guess. I don't know if I vote for myself, but it's a majority. All right. So then vice chair. Do we have one nominee?
I just would like to know if you're interested, just because I don't want to assume that you're not.
Right.
It is when the chair is not present for the meeting, you get to run the meeting. And I know that you have just recently started, so you may want to do that, or you may be like, hell no.
Honestly, I'd like to see a calendar year through, or I'd be open, right? I think it's
Yes.
still learning. So I would say, no, thank you, no interest.
Yes, and I think that's, I also made that same decision when I was in your shoes as a new commissioner, but I thought it was only polite to inquire. So I would like to nominate Commissioner Johnson to be vice chair for next year.
Okay. Commissioner, do you accept?
I accept.
All right. Are there any other candidates? No. All right. Ms. Brewer, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner French,
I am in full agreement and support.
Commissioner Israelit,
Agree?
and Chair Martos.
Aye. Okay. So chair and vice 2026, Martos and Johnson. Okay. Very good. All right. We will move on. Campaigning was easy, wasn't it?
No, we were doing that.
Informational items. So item 7A, public comments related to any informational item. Do we have anybody from the public? Mr. Valesco. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, commissioners, and welcome, Chair, Emeriti, and incumbent. I got a call at 8:30 in the morning on Wednesday, December 10th. It was my son. There was a lot of commotion in the background. I could hear Spanish being spoken. And he said, "Dad, I was hit by a car." I asked him if he was bleeding, and he said, "I don't know, but the lady beside me says I'm bleeding in the head." I asked him where he was, and he said, "I'm at the Carolyn crossing." I knew exactly where that was because we talked about that intersection before. He's a senior. He's been there for 3.5 years. This is his 4th year. I got on my bike, got there as fast as I could, and when I arrived there, he was face down on his side, facing away from me. And just for reference, the crosswalk where he was hit is where those 2 double doors are, on the other side of this double door, where the 2 glass doors intersect. That's where he was hit. And where he landed was where that chair is there. That's where his head was. And his foot is where Mr. Wong's is sitting. His helmet was over there. And his right shoe is where Ms. Brewer is. I rode in the ambulance with him to Stanford. They checked him. There were multiple doctors who checked in with him. He's not okay, but he's recovering. The thing is, I had written to the city before about this particular intersection in 2022. And that was because another student had gotten hit at that intersection in 2022. If you look at the YouTube video of this meeting, TSPC meeting in December 2022, there was discussion about that student. So you can watch it on YouTube, it's there. There was discussion about how that's a hidden crosswalk. And that in that same instance, the victim was also found to have fault for being hit. I'm going to try to keep myself going here. You might have to give me some grace of a minute, but what I wanted to say is I want to avoid another student from getting hit there again. It's a popular crossing. El Camino is getting closed. We've got growth. Commissioner Israel was talking about. People are in a hurry, and they're not, drivers and bicyclists are not willing to wait as long as they are. So I ask you, please, to consider what I had suggested in 2022, which is to trim the bushes a little bit more, put some lines on the street where drivers are supposed to stop so that they don't go all the way to the crosswalk and not have visibility of people coming in. If you look at all the crosswalks that you have on California Drive today, you have advanced limit lines. So when drivers stop, they stop 40 feet, 50 feet back from the actual crosswalk. At Carolyn, you don't have that. So drivers don't know where to stop. If they stop right at the crosswalk, there's no buffer for them to go. So please consider doing these movements or these improvements. Like on the other side of California Drive is a 3-color signal, red, yellow, green. The signal here is a flashing yellow, which requires, I don't know, the intuition and the courtesy of drivers to yield to pedestrians or bicyclists. And that we know, maybe it's not fair to drivers to do that, but it's not there. Maybe this could be a 3-color signal as well. But I know that's not going to happen just like that. But if we can make some interim improvements to make it happen, please. And if you want to meet with me, staff, the officer, 8:15 tomorrow, you're going to see the same hazards that still exist. Please, I beg you, please, before somebody else gets hit at that intersection. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Valesco, and all our best to your son and your family. Okay. Community, okay. Move on to item 7B, community group updates. Nothing.
I have nothing.
Okay. Engineering division reports, Mr. Wong.
Thank you, Chair Martos. Just one item. The El Camino Real Renewal Project started today. Some tree removing, they've been potholing operations. Various locations, and we'll get those out in e-news as well as what we can as far as where the detours are. Again, they were able to do this work during the rain, some of the potholing and possibly some of the tree work, but this will continue until May is what we're looking at, for 2026. And while not on here, I just want to, because it's such a big happening in our town, in case you haven't, the SMC alert now. So we had an issue yesterday where Broadway was closed down, Broadway, California. Our crews have managed to power up the signals now without PG&E power, but using generators to have east-west on Broadway go. So you're able to go that way and turn onto the southern portion of California, but between Broadway and Lincoln on California, in both directions, is closed still while they do their work. So that just happened this evening at about 6:30. They were able to activate that. So just wanted to add that, let you know that.
Okay. Any questions?
Nothing like an important start of a major project to have both things happen at the same time. I was out driving around that time and it was pretty gnarly today. So I feel for everyone who is managing that situation.
Yep, go ahead.
I just have a question / comment, Mr. Wong, about the El Camino project. I think the city's sent out some e-newsletters, and I think even there's an email, maybe it's coming actually from Caltrans, not the city, that lets people know what the blocks involved in the detours. My only ask, I think it would be really helpful to have like a little map. Because when you say like Grove and whatever, I mean, I've lived here for 20 years and sometimes I'm like, which one's Grove? And I think that just in general, some people are visual learners like me. And it would be really helpful to have just a little tiny inset map showing which area, which block is involved.
Sure, we can.
It's a great idea.
And make
Yeah.
work on it.
Okay. Any other comments? Nope. All right. Yep, go ahead. Commissioner French.
I did,
No. Move up to the mic.
I don't usually need one. My comment is when we're been notified, so I got the notifications and that was great, but the time, when does it stop? Because in the meeting, I think it was 2 meetings ago, I know some of the public had comments about, was it just all going to be during peak business hours? And was there any decision made on that?
For sure.
Yep.
So it's, I think primarily 8 to 5 construction time during the day, because because there's so many residents that live along El Camino during doing night work would also be an impact. So it's a balance. I'm not saying there won't be any night work, but it's trying to be managed that way. So, and as well as weekend work, there may be some, but those will be, again, advanced notification on that to let people know, because the world doesn't stop once the weekday ends, right? The weekend starts. So we'll make sure.
And then there was a question about, could there be work on Saturdays? Is that, so it's definitely Monday to Friday business?
For now, but there may be times where we need to shut down El Camino for whatever operation. But again, the community will have advance notice on that.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? All right. We'll move on to 7D, Police Department reports. Sergeant Millerloff.
Thank you, Chair Martos.
Mhm.
For the month of December, there were 19 total crashes to report. Hit and run crashes caused by DUI were filtered out and do not appear in this report. In the month of December, there were 13 crashes with a vehicle with another vehicle, 3 crashes with a bicycle, 1 crash with a pedestrian. And out of all the crashes, 13 resulted in minor injuries and 1 resulted in major injuries. As far as the collision factors that we observed in the month of December, the most common crash factors were right-of-way violations, unsafe lane changes or turning movements, and unsafe speed. 2 involving failure to yield. 7 unsafe turning movements, lane changing or backing, and 5 unsafe speed. Additionally, there were 2 red light violations. Can take any questions you have.
So Sergeant, case 3066, vehicle involved, was there another?
It was a pedestrian. Sorry, that report was yet to be completed. That's why that didn't populate.
Okay,
It's actually still in the queue. It was a failure to yield situation with the vehicle turning at that intersection.
okay. It was a minor injury.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Other questions? Does anybody want to know about the bicycle incidents? There's 3 of them on there.
Well, actually, I was going to ask
Go ahead. Go
a
ahead.
different question.
Go ahead.
Kind of related to the earlier public comment, which I know we're not allowed to comment on, but I was going to ask this question anyway. I think there's a perception that a lot of red lights are being run more so than prior to COVID in the city. And, you know, this is just anecdotal, but I have heard it from multiple sources. I know the police department is strapped. What are the police department's current plans, or, you know, what are we looking at any, are we any closer to being able to enforce, you know, running red lights, running stop signs or anything like that? Do we have the manpower? What's the
Staffing has gotten better on the patrol side. For our traffic division, we're a small unit. It's myself, a corporal, who's kind of like vice chair. And then that's been it. Normally, we'd have an additional motor officer. We haven't had an additional motor officer at least a year and a half or 2. I am heavily involved in my day-to-day with a lot of administrative duties, so it's not my main kind of role to be on the street enforcing, although I like to. I like to get on the motorcycle and educate and enforce as well. And I do when I can. My corporal also has a lot of ancillary duties as well, being an FTO, range master, et cetera. So unfortunately, stemming from an unfortunate incident last year, there was a lot of community outreach, you know, saying they wanted to see more robust traffic division for our department. And so our new chief looked into that, and we are currently training an officer to go in March. It's going well. So I anticipate that our unit will be up to staff in March or thereabouts. In the meantime, I'm pretty good about giving information to the patrol team night and day with problem intersections. And anytime I receive complaint sections, I disseminate that. It's not like we just kind of hoard that information in traffic. That disseminate that information to patrol officers. We have a young department. They're eager to get out and work in enforcement and education, and they do. So it's our officers actually got a report today from the company that we work with for our ticket writers. And they gave me a report on all the citations written. So I got to see all the officers, the citations that were written. So we have an enthusiastic department that are out there making stops and doing the best they can. So it's, you know, I think brighter days ahead, so to speak, as far as the attention that violations deserve.
Thank you very much, and know that it's appreciated by the community.
I do have some questions about the
Go ahead.
bicycle.
Yep.
So I know that I was looking at my map. The Carolyn one first, not the Carolyn, the California Drive, Mejia Avenue. That had been a problem area, I think, a couple months ago with a scooter, I believe, that also got hit at that same cross. So I'm wondering what happened there specifically.
It was an unsafe speed for conditions situation involving the vehicle and the bicycle. About the extent of what I can kind of relay about it. A driver or a motorist traveling, it's considering the placement of the bicycle.
Was the bicycle in the bike lane, or were they?
I believe
They were crossing. Okay, got it. And then the Lorton and Howard one, do you have any more details?
Yeah, it was a failure to yield situation.
Okay.
A motorist traveling one direction and a bicyclist coming from another direction and attention
Okay.
by one party.
And we don't know if the bicycle was on Howard or
I believe the bicycle was traveling on Lord.
on Lorton. Okay. And then I know a little bit more about the Carolyn Morel Avenue. So I don't have a lot of questions on that one because I've heard a lot about that.
Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Or any of those e-bikes?
Good question.
No. Sorry, correction. I believe the Lorton and Howard one was, not the illegal.
So I'm curious, Sergeant, if an e-bike gets into an accident, well, I think the policy is you don't ticket when an accident occurs, right? So even if the e-bike failed to yield and ran in front of the car or ran into a car, that you wouldn't issue a ticket, right? Something like that.
We wouldn't issue a citation for any moving violation.
Yeah,
There are circumstances where we can issue citations after the fact. We arrive on scene for
yeah,
being unlicensed,
yeah,
not have proof of financial responsibility.
yeah.
We don't issue citations for, because we didn't observe the violation.
Sure, sure.
Everything we gather is after the fact. It's hearsay. It's,
Mhm.
and then we gather information as we can and make the best determination that we can in our subsequent report.
So are e-bikes subject to citation if they don't follow the rules of the road?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Okay. Is anybody curious about the Carolyn Morel accident?
Talk about-
I actually
Yeah,
didn't,
yeah.
I actually didn't hear about it.
About
So
the Carol.
Carolyn Morel bicycle accident, are you aware of that one?
No, it sounds like Commissioner.
But Commissioner Johnson was.
Is-
Are you,
Can talk to? or-
can you talk about it or?
I can speak about it. I can say that a bicycle was traveling at the crosswalk at Carolyn Morel, and a motorist was traveling, I believe, southbound, and
Oh,
did not see the bicycle.
right, never mind. Never mind. I know what it, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Excuse me. Okay. No, I know what it is.
Yep.
Yep. All right. I apologize. That's, yeah. Okay. Any other questions? All right. We'll move on. Boy, that was bad. I apologize for that. Okay, we'll move on to subcommittee reports. Actually, will not. Go on to 7E. Since I was a little flustered by that last comment, I feel bad about that. I'm sorry. 7E, Commissioner Communications, anything?
None.
No? Anybody approached by public, they had concerns or anything?
Not that we haven't addressed before. I I can comment a little bit about the AMP project if you want,
Sure.
or if not, we can wait
Um,
next month maybe.
Mm,
So
Yeah,
a proper
do that next
group
month.
out.
Yep, yep. All right, hearing nothing, we'll go on to 8. So the first one, any public comment on our subcommittee reports? Nothing. Okay, so we'll go to Hillside Drive, traffic calming. Commissioner Israelit? Anything?
We
Commissioner
talked about
Johnson?
The last time, but Mr. Wong, I did notice trying to pull out of my street the other day that there were literally I think I had to wait for 15 cars that were flying down Hillside. And I was wondering if the police, or I don't remember who has it, you or the police, but the mobile sign that says your speed is blah, blah, blah. It might be helpful to, now that kids are back in school after the holiday, to put that on the eastbound side of Hillside somewhere close to where, maybe just above where the crosswalk is going to go, to get people to slow down. Cause I saw, at least 6 kids waiting to cross the street as I was trying to, at least I'm in a car.
We can take a look at it. I know we have plans for it
trying to schedule something right now with PD, so maybe following that, but we can get it out there. We'll rotate it out.
Just to keep it in people's mind.
Yes.
We have two. So we have a
Oh.
message board and then we have a smaller one that's just speed. So eastbound Hillside at what?
Eastbound on Hillside, maybe,
Montero?
I was going to say, yeah, Montera or what's after Montera?
Well, it goes,
Alvarado, Benito.
Alvarado, Benito, Montero, Castillo, then Carlos.
Yeah, I'd say maybe between Montero and Castillo. What do you?
Yeah. Yes, because that's where you're really starting to
Starting
pick up some
to pick
speed. Yeah, for sure.
I'm a visual person as well.
Yeah.
To see me going like this.
I know.
Yeah, and any other?
Nothing related to specifically the Hillside project, other than I know it, we're just waiting for implementation of the crosswalk. I think is the last piece, right?
Crosswalk and the permanent speed sign.
Yeah.
Correct.
And timing, I think we asked last week, right? Or last month. Actually, it was 2 months ago because I wasn't here last time.
Yeah, through the chair, we're trying to combine that with some other work that came up. So we're trying to get contract out for both of those. And it's with the weather, it's one of those too. So we're working, Mr. Ting is working on that other design. So once we have that, we'll go out and just be able to take care of two items.
The only other comment I have is more related to not Hillside, and so I don't know if I should bring it up now, but it's more the Bellevue project. I have noticed driving on El Camino, that Occidental Bellevue, El Camino intersection, I worry about it every time I go on El Camino because I see people do the wrong thing pretty much every time I'm driving. People are trying to cross coming from Hillsborough and really cross and turn left onto El Camino. I think they're allowed to do that from that direction, but but again, going back, that it's there's going to be a problem there, and I really hope that we can.
No, you can finish.
Oh.
He just can't comment.
He can't comment
Not on the agenda,
It's on the agenda.
but we'll
But
call that.
I would
commission-
like, yeah. Okay.
But I prefer you don't comment.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can talk after.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on Hillside? Nope. ECR?
ECR.
That's a hot topic.
So it's a hot topic. We received from Caltrans, Mr. Wong, final extract the various detours, maps of the various detours when they're working on specific blocks. We can see now where traffic is going to be directed. And talking with Mr. Wong, I'm reassured that Caltrans will be owning the responsibility to put up signage and to also be aware of like no parking on one side of the street because there's no way that our streets can handle, directed traffic and two-way traffic, the residential streets. So it sounds like, that is not something that it sounds like our subcommittee is going to be responsible for, but I do think that the subcommittee still should stick around because all of us can sort of report if you're seeing things because we're feet on the ground and we live here and Caltrans may not be aware that Bernal, which is the street they picked for one of the detours, is the only way that people go for Lincoln and BIS.
Yep.
And that traffic is directed down Bernal. So we just have to, I think the subcommittee should continue to be active so that we can help guide through this construction.
100%. Agreed. Yep. And I did speak with Commissioner Brown this week and he had some thoughts. He had some concerns about the circulation, the diversion of the traffic and everything. And so I know he wants to stay engaged with it as well. So I think that would be really important. Okay. Anything else? Or we'll move on to future agenda items. Mr. Wong, what's coming up?
Nothing decided yet, but we're looking at either of the California Drive projects, either between Oak Grove and Burlingame Avenue or Burlingame Avenue to Peninsula, as well as trying to bring back Vision Zero for you.
Mhm.
You get that answer that you were looking for today. So those are the couple and whatever else may come up. But yeah, we'll be, those are the ones that we preliminary have.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
So just to refresh my memory, Vision Zero is more an informational presentation to us because we as Teaspoon are not active participants other than the two delegates, correct?
It's,
Are we giving feedback to Vision Zero as a commission, or is it just mostly I believe it's Commissioner Johnson and Martos, right, that are on Vision Zero? Oh, okay, that was.
No, no.
My bad.
no, through chair, please absolutely give feedback to it. I mean, that's what we're looking for, as well as presenting to you so you see the progress or see, but if there's something unanswered, yeah, we,
But I mean, I think now Vision Zero is a system of record, right? So the first phase was done, the report was generated. We
Yeah.
got through the presentation initially from that organization. I don't know if there's a phase two to their involvement, but it is our system of record for the hotspots across the town, across our town. So I'm not sure if there's additional work other than it's informing the prioritization of the work that you do.
correct. That's the next phase that's coming up.
Okay, sorry.
Yep.
I mean, I think I think it's really important for the community, for us to the community, especially since so many people were heavily involved in giving their feedback to that project, for us to continue to talk about it as Teaspoon. And I think it is important for us every time that Mr. Wong brings a project, again, communication wise, tying back to, hey, like this is addressing these 3 or 4 hotspots that were surfaced in that program.
Yep. Yep.
Would be my recommendation.
Yep.
There have been multiple modalities of
Yes.
how this was going to proceed since in 2020, when I first.
Right.
So just thanks for clarifying.
Okay. All right, anything else? So I just wanted to say for the record, that I totally blanked out on Carolyn Morell, and that was really insensitive on my part to Mr. Valesco and his family. So I apologize on the record. And it was an honest mistake. So we'll just leave it at that. All right, if nothing else, we'll call this meeting adjourned.